everybody. We're so happy to see you. Hello, future bestsellers.
Hi.
I am excited to do our live stream today, and it looks like we have a lot of folks here already, so that is completely awesome, especially since I did not put anything out on Facebook yet, but I will definitely do that during the 5-minute sprint. So, hi, I'm Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published author of contemporary romance and nonfiction dating advice, and today, as always on the live stream, we have some of our awesome regulars, including Story Detective, aka Story D. Hi, why don't you introduce yourself to the fine folks?
Well, my channel is The Story Detective, and we look at everything story-oriented, examine it under a Sherlockian microscope, break it down, give it to the viewers so they can have a better understanding of craft. I also do some tech reviews, and just generally have fun with stuff that can help writers, I hope.
Definitely. I know you have such a great handle on craft. I always love to watch your craft videos. Michelle Schusterman's here. Hello.
Hi.
Tell us all about you.
Hi guys, I'm Michelle. I'm a middle grade and young adult author, and my YouTube channel is Writing Workshops and Traditional Publishing Chat.
Awesome. Very awesome. Michelle's videos are great. Apparently, so I'm like way behind on my to watch list. And apparently you gave a mention last week, I guess, on your vlog about being
I did.
Yeah, and I like a couple people this week say, hey, like I saw Michelle's vlog, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on. So thanks for the mention. We love that. DAL CECIL Runo's here.
Hey.
Hello, DAL. How are you today?
Hi, hello there, humans. I'm fine, thank you, Lisa. I'm very happy to be here.
That is fantastic. Tell us a little bit about your channel.
So, hello there, humans. I am DAL CECIL RUNO, the partially blind-owned voices author of science fiction, poetry, and short stories, and multiple genres, also known as the Ace from Space. My channel is currently on a short hiatus, but I will be back next year when we are not talking about Christmas and stuff because I don't celebrate Christmas, but I'll be back soon.
All right, fantastic. We are all very excited to hear about that. So as you all may have noticed, Miss Carroll Brown is not with us today, and that is because she is packing. She is getting ready for a big move, which she has said on this channel, right to Florida, which is where I am, and I'm super excited, even though she'll be like,
since Carrow is not here because of moving and holidays and all the things that she has to do, you know, personal life stuff, I would like to give her a shout out. Carroll Brown is an urban fantasy author, also known as Faye Black, which is a romance author, and she also runs the publisher Mad Raptor Productions, which is currently having an Instagram giveaway for 500 followers. So if you don't follow them on Instagram, what are you doing? Go follow them right now.
Right, Mad Raptor Productions, and there is a link in the description below to Mad Raptor, and of course to Carroll Brown. And I think you guys let me know in the chat, but I think last time we had our stream, their open submissions, we had like a couple days left.
Yeah, it's closed already.
It's all closed now. So, but she said they will open again once they get going with publishing some of the books that they have accepted during this submission.
They want to focus on the authors that are already in, so they want to give them the time to shine, and then submissions will open again.
Which is awesome. So if you did not have anything ready to submit for this time, but you want to think about submitting for next time, let's get writing. All right, let's say hi to everybody in the chat today. I want to know what everybody is working on. Maya was here first. Hello, Maya. We're so glad you made it today. All right, so here's what I asked before. Like I asked of the chat before we got started, and that was if you could accomplish one awesome author/writing career goal in 2021, what would it be? So what would your big goal if you could do nothing else? Because I will say this question was born of the fact that I have a bunch of stuff that was on my 2020 list, and I have accomplished very little of it, which is unlike me. So I think if you're just going to get one awesome thing done in 2021, what would you want it to be? And I'm going to ask you guys this too, panelists. So be prepared. All right. No. All right. So yeah. So Maya says publishing my YA book. That is an awesome 2021 goal. Joanne Ninja Hen. Hello, Joanne. Says yes, publishing my first book. That is awesome. Awesome. Melanie is here. Hello, Melanie. We're so glad to see you. Jennifer, too, 2021 goal, publishing my first book. Now, I want to know, you guys, is your goal to publish traditionally or indie publish or one or the other? Inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
That's right. Jennifer's here. Hey, Jennifer, we're so glad you made it today. All right. Okay, Melanie, you're hilarious because I said big question. She says big answer. Writing book 2 in my YA dark fantasy series, maybe publishing book 1. That might be 2022 though, realistically. What's as a goal? Let's 2021, 2022. That's awesome. Doll's here in the chat and also on the screen. Doll wants to publish her sci-fi novel in 2021. Yeah. Melanie says hello. Devin's here. Hello, Devin.
Howdy.
We're so glad you made it today. Oh, Sky. Yeah, Sky's here. So Sky is working on young adult urban fantasy novella today. That is fantastic. Sky, what is your big question? I want to purchase ISBNs and get paperbacks out. Good for you. That is absolutely fantastic. So I want to know how brave and bold you are. How many ISBNs are you going to purchase? I think you can get them I think 10 is like the small packet. I think you can get 1, 10, or like the next jump, I think is like a lot, like 200 or 250. So I want to know, how big of a jump are you taking this year? All right. Debbie's here. Hello, Debbie. We're so glad you made it. All right. So Melanie says she is revising draft 3 of her debut novel, aka the rewrite. Got to bring everything to first-person POV. Luckily, I'm already 3/4 of the way there, thanks to discovery draft scenes being used. Good. That's so hard, isn't it? Like the hardest thing to change POV.
It is.
It's the worst. It's the worst of all the things over, like a rewrite, even a total rewrite, which is.
It is. The one who can tell you like with all the details is Savvy, because Savvy went through that with her novel 90s Kids. So shout out to Savvy. Sometimes she's here. She might be sleeping or walking Chewy. Or walking Chewy.
She has the link. I know she's funny out, but she has been working a ton lately. So
she's going through that. She's writing a different POV. She went from first person to third person limited. So like a whole rewrite of her multi-POV sci-fi young adult novel.
It's worth trying though, because I've done it with like half a novel, and it is a lot of work, but it's worth trying. Even if you come back to your original point of view, you've at least experimented and expanded in different areas to see what's working best for you.
Oh, I totally agree. It's sometimes changing the POV totally makes it into a different book. And a lot of times it really improves the book. But if you make, like you say, you do that experiment, and then you make the decision like, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this, then the actual changing of it is right.
I've heard so many people say that, I hate this point of view because they've read stories they didn't like in that particular point of view. I think we all have our favorites, but you never know what works for you until you try it. Even if it's a short story, I suggest experimenting and trying it out.
Absolutely.
I hear a lot about that with the first person present tense.
Yes.
A lot of people don't like that. Oh, first person present. Oh no, I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, I read The Hunger Games, which I did not like. Shocker. I did not like it. No, I didn't.
What?
Yeah, I know I didn't. It's not for me. It's not my cuppa. But it was narrated in first person present. But it was not the tense that was a problem. So if I read another book, say a horror in first person present, I think it works pretty well for horror because it's a horror. You don't know if the narrator is gonna make it.
Right. If it already happens, they're alive.
Yeah.
Or they're dead and they're right. I'm just thinking of The Lovely Bones, or they're already dead and you're hearing them in the afterlife. Okay. So it's interesting that you mentioned first person present tense. That happens to be my favorite POV. So
Nice.
I know. Let's go around really fast and say, do you have a favorite POV? And if you do, what is it? Michelle, you're making a scrunched up face.
I
So
am. I don't think I have a favorite one as a writer or a reader. It just really depends on the story. Yeah.
No, I think that's good.
I agree with Michelle.
Yeah, I actually don't have a favorite as a reader, but I definitely do have a favorite as a writer. Story detective, do you have a favorite, and what is it if you do?
Yeah, for years I did like first person, and everybody hated it, but I think I've also written some, and I'm working on an entire science fiction series in third person, but it depends so much on the story and the voice and what you're trying to do, and sometimes it just fits in and sometimes it doesn't. And also the character. First person can be more intimate, and also if it's from that character's point of view, you can exaggerate things that come from a character who is a little eccentric, whereas the narrator in third person could say it and it'll seem like, no, that doesn't seem realistic. He ate 100 bananas. But if the character saying, wow, I must have eaten 100 bananas, it's a different feel.
Totally different thing. Well, and I think sometimes the different points of view lend themselves better for specific types of books. Like, so I write romantic comedy, and one element of comedy that is really important is surprise. And so it's easier for your character to be surprised if this is like happening in real time and your reader is experiencing that.
Yeah.
So that's just me.
I like that people say don't write a book in second person because the you thing, don't do that, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I didn't narrate the whole thing in second person, but I introduced it because like the characters it's two POV. It's like two different points of view, and they address each other like, yeah, and then you did this, and you blah blah, and you thought I wouldn't be able to catch you, blah blah blah. It's like so I did that for my short story, so I like to experiment with tense.
I think go ahead, Robert.
I used to listen to a lot of radio shows when I was doing artwork because I don't like a TV in my studio, but I like something that's going to give me a story. So I got into like old time radio.
Oh, I love that about you.
Second person point of view was big then, but you can see why it faded out because it seemed a little unrealistic because you have this really dramatic detective story and it's like, you walked into the room. It's very corny, but in some examples, like Dal was talking about, it could work for brief periods, but they say there's no such thing as second point of view. Everyone should just forget it, but clever.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is they always say that until somebody makes it work and then everybody does it. So they used to say like, oh, don't write vampire or werewolf books. And then all of a sudden
like, Twilight happened.
Right? You couldn't. And Charlene Harris, God bless her, who kept writing her vampire books, like who just kept going and going, she just kept doing her thing, and then when that Twilight thing hit, she really was poised to take advantage of it. So I'm always fascinated by that. And Robert, you listening to old-timey radio in your office is the most and least surprising thing ever. So anyway, all right, you guys, I think that we should get started with a little warm-up sprint here. Let me go ahead and get a little tab open. Dun, dun, dun. So we're going to do it.
And we're getting the beach timer.
Yeah, we're getting the beach timer. We can do another timer if you guys want to.
I like it.
Put your timer votes in the chat. I'm not sure if this is the one with the ocean sounds or not, but I'll find the ocean sounds for the next sprint. So, all right, everybody, we are going to do the 5-minute timer to do our little warm up. And when we come back, I want to talk more about goals and what you guys are working on today. So, all right. Oop, that's going really fast. Here we go. Everybody, let's listen to the sprint. Bye. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So so I had to like turn off my camera for a second because I have like this little stand thing that's like adjustable, and I had it like so high. I was like, like that. Anyway, better, a little bit better now. So, how did everybody do?
I went for snacks.
You went for what?
For snacks, I went for cookies, and ice cream, and yeah, snacks.
It is important to keep yourself, well fed during sprints or just while chatting. That's why I served. Exactly. All right, Robert, how'd you do on the little warm up?
I basically got set up and then started charging my Apple Pencil, which I forgot to do.
Apple Pencil? What's that?
It's like a drawing device for your iPad. So it's the closest thing I found to actually drawing on paper and getting some kind of tactile feeling without just doing art or digital stuff by pressing a button. So like,
that's cool.
That's cool. Here, I'm going to make you big. Can you show us what it looks like?
Yeah.
All right, here you go. You're big.
This is essentially it. This is the first gen. There's a second generation,
and
and
there's a second gen.
You can pull off, and it has a lightning charger, and it only takes like a couple of minutes to charge, so it charges really fast and lasts for hours.
That is so cool.
I've heard that the second gen is only compatible with like the iPad Pros and like the big boys of iPad, like the more expensive
the first
ones.
gen was like that too, but now I think it's compatible with some of the other lower iPads that's not the Pro. But the Pro is more useful for just having a little bit more reach and power and, using programs. So, the digital stuff that I showed you guys, the art was all done on the iPad and using that for, various effects and stuff. So
that's so cool. That is really, really cool. All right, you, Michelle, what did you do during the 5-minute warm up?
I opened my document and got some more coffee.
All right, good. All right, so we're all prepared then. We are ready to roll for when we have our big 20. All right, so Debbie's here. Did I say hi, Debbie? Hi, Debbie. We're so glad you made it today. So Melanie will be revising draft 3 of her debut. Oh, we already did this one. Sorry. Hi. Did I say Debbie? Hi to Debbie twice? I feel like I missed that. Georgie's here. Well, Debbie is so special to us that I feel that she deserves 2 highs. It was completely intentional.
Hi, Georgie. Hey,
hello,
good to see you.
Hello, Georgie. Spence is here. Hey, Spence.
Hi,
We're so happy to see you. Yay. Everybody's excited to see Spence. Laurel's here. Hello, Laurel. Christina's here. Hello, Christina. We're super glad to see you today. JC is here. Hello. So glad to see you today. All right. So Laurel had an answer to the question. She would love to publish her first book in 2021. Getting my website and newsletter going is my actual goal. Well, those are all awesome goals. They're fantastic. Now, are you going to try, Laurel, are you going to try and not get your website and your newsletter done in 2020? Or is that your 2020? Like, that's what's happening in 2021? Dying to know. Newsletter is something like you can set up kind of quickly. Websites, depending on how, complicated it is. Yeah. Yeah, you guys will be proud to know. I know, I've been saying like, oh, I got to call Amy for like, I don't know, 6 months. And last week during the live stream, Carrow did as Carrow does. And she, even though we were already in a little Facebook group, she was like, Lisa, Amy, get together. And so Amy and I had a call and we have at least started the ball rolling. So I'm excited about that. All right.
Cool.
Spence.
Amy's really good. And
Spence,
she showed me stuff that she's working on for my site. So her sense of design and her instincts are very good, and she works very hard. So I wouldn't hesitate to hire her for anything.
That's really good. Well, I mean, the fact that you and Carol have both recommended her so highly is that's like good for me. I'm like, okay, like that'll do it. Two people I really trust. Absolutely. Okay, so Spence says, I want to get my debut romance vampire Christmas novel self-published at the end of November. Have I already said how much I love this idea? Like, okay. Right? Okay. So Melody is here, aiming to self-publish. The first book of the series is well under the 50K minimum. I don't want to force more words. It would ruin the quality of the story. Yeah, you know what? So if you want to self-publish it, then awesome. If you want to traditionally publish and the word count is kind of the only thing that's stopping you, even though traditionally you want to stay in that, word count area, if you have a good reason to break the rules, you should. And I will tell you, my best-selling book of all time was my dating advice book, which is 20,000 words, was traditionally published. Normally in that category, you'd be looking at like 75, but it needed 20, and it did really well here, it did really well in other countries. So if you have a good reason to break the rule, then you should. Yeah. All right. Ooh, and StreamYard jumped. Here we go. All right. Hold on. Oh my gosh, you guys. It jumped a lot. Okay, here we go. All right, Laurel, self-published for me 100%. Keep more of your own money that way. Devin Cutting says, big question to make Lisa snort laugh more often than I did in 2020. That's a lofty goal, Devin, but I think you're just the man to do it. All right. All right. Sky wants the 100-pack. With as many works as I want to publish, I'd be buying another 10-pack before the end of the year if that's the one I aim for. Yay. So we're talking back about ISBNs again. She's going to buy 100 ISBNs, and that is awesome. Okay. Melanie says, Devin, that's epic. Yes, it is. All right. Awesome. Spence wants to finish some client work and get that sent out by the end of the day. It's also my big admin day. So yay for Wednesday and lots of sprints. Speaking of sprints, we should do another one, but I want to say hi to JC. Hello. She says she might be cheating slightly, but the one thing she wants to get accomplished in 2021 is publishing the six books she's already written, edited, and published.
Get them out there.
I know, right? That's awesome too, that you could rapid release, every 2 months. You'll build a heck of an audience that way. Oh, good for you. All right. Super proud. All right, guys. I know.
Laurel asked a question about iPads, which I guess
all right.
before we jump into the sprint.
Yeah, hold on. Let's do that. Laurel, hold on. I'm going down. You're going to be Caro today, Robert. You'll be okay. Here we go. So Laurel had a good question.
So I haven't bought new stuff. Well, I buy some new Apple products, but I usually go back a generation or sometimes even two. The iPad that I bought is, hold on a second. Let me find some art.
Is it the 6th or the 7th gen?
This one, which generation is it? I've got the 12.9. And it went back a couple of years ago.
You mean the older iPad Pro, because 12.9 inches is an iPad Pro.
Yep. It was before the iPads started taking off and being like a thing that everybody used for editing. I watched reviews on this. The new one was somewhere around like $1,000 or $1,200.
Yeah, she's just getting her first. Laurel is just getting her first iPad. She doesn't need an iPad Pro.
Well, if you don't need an iPad Pro, just get a regular iPad or an iPad Air that's cheaper. This one could be cheaper than the regular new ones, though, because when this came out, everybody was saying, the tech geeks were saying, why do you need that much in an iPad? Who's going to use that for those things? And I said, you know what? The specs are almost identical to the iPad that came out a year or so back. I thought, I can get this one for about $600. and it did everything that I needed to do. Now, all of my video editing, the video filming I've done for the past year, the artwork, everything that you've seen on my channel, I've done on this iPad.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Because you're using it for heavy work like video editing and video production, which is
Yeah.
and I would recommend an iPad Pro. But Laurel, if you're just thinking of getting an iPad for like media consumption or like some fast drafting of your novel, I don't know if you draw. I don't know if you're an artist. If you're thinking of drawing, maybe look into the iPad Pro lines and get the older one, like Robert says. But if it's just your first iPad, just for the sake of like getting an iPad and play around with it and have like use it as a sort of Kindle e-reader or something, I would say
any
you can.
iPad would do, yeah.
Then you can go with the regular iPad. It's just the iPad 8th generation is the newest one. It's only $399, I think.
Yes.
It depends on the storage capacity. If you want the bigger storage, then it's gonna be like 400 and something. But so if it's just your first iPad, I would go with the 8th generation iPad, not iPad Pro, just iPad.
And I believe
I hope that helps.
Use the Apple Pencil, correct?
Yes,
what?
the
You
new.
can still use the Apple Pencil on
You
it.
can still use the iPad, the Apple Pencil. I'm sorry. You can still use the Apple Pencil on the iPad, just the iPad Generation 8, I think. But we will have to look into that, and you can message me later, and I will have the answer for you.
Yes, between those two, depending on your uses, you could spend $300 or $400, or you could spend about $600 and get the entire range of what most people are going to use an iPad or even a desktop for the most part, because like I said, I've done almost everything on it for the past year and it's performed really well.
Well, I have an interest, like I have a different use for my iPad. So I would love to know what Laurel plans to do with it, because this is all great advice depending on. I also have an iPad, and I have an ancient iPad, which is an iPad 2 that I use, like, right, way ancient, second one, old, and it's old. And I use it for writing. I know, right? You're laughing, but I only use it for writing at the beach, and sometimes I read on it, and that is it. Those are the only two things. And so if someone stole it when I was at the beach, I would be out like $50, and 30 of that would be the keyboard, which is, I just use like a little Zag keyboard.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's old. It doesn't do anything, but it has enough juice to have a Word app on it, and I can send it, to myself, when I'm done writing, and that's all I use it for. So if all you want is to write on it, and you want someplace that's like something that's more like a mini laptop, and you want to, read it, use it like a Kindle to read, or just, for the basic stuff, then I don't know that you even need it that complicated. I mean, really, like I said, I'd probably be out like $50 to replace that thing.
I have an old iPad too as well, and I think I bought it in like 2011, 2012 when it came out, and it still works. It's like
I know that's the thing.
I have a thing to say about that. I have an older iPad too. It's a 3rd generation iPad. It's very heavy. It's old, but you can no longer download any apps to it. It's no longer working. It's it's not supported anymore. That's the problem with old generation. It's like,
well,
for example, I want to download Script now to my iPad. No, you can't. So no.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I only use it for those two purposes. I have a Kindle app on it, and I write on it, and that's it. So, sometimes like read the news or whatever, but generally that's the only thing I use it. So it depends. So tell us what you want to do with it, and Dahl and Robert will give you the best possible recommendations for it. So, all right, you guys, let's do another sprint, and then we are going to come back and talk some more. This time we are going to do a 20-minute sprint, and we shall have our ocean sounds. Here we go.
Yay!
Yay! All right, here we go. Who would like to count us down? We're on the big 3. Dahl, would you like to do it?
Okay.
All
For
right,
tech support, just call me.
Yes, there we go. All right, here we go. So talk away, and I'll try to catch up with the numbers.
All right, everybody, this is time to get your things done. I was going to say something else, but I'm going to censor myself today. I'm a good person. So get ready for writing. Get your things done in 3, 2, 1, and screens.
Here we go. All right, everybody. We are back. Yay! Okay. Oh, I can't unmute Doll because she's already so she muted herself. There she is. Oh, yay! All right. So, how did everybody do on that 20-minute sprint?
Good.
Yeah.
643 words.
How many? Wait.
43.
That is awesome. That is awesome, Michelle. I tell you, man, it's the ocean sounds. It just like puts me in the zone like every single time. Yeah.
Or in the background, but the ocean sounds are there too, and I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. Sounds like a beach bar.
Right? That's nice. Very nice. Robert, how'd you do?
I did some pricing on some items for the website. There's a whole lot of things to do and sometimes redo because
it's true. It's a very big project to do your website. So Michelle, how often do you do a refresh on your website?
Not very. I think I did kind of a revamp of my website about a year ago. And
that's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It had been a while. So it was much needed, but now it's just kind of, if there's little updates to add to like publication dates of books, I add it, but I don't do much to it. It just sits there.
I have abandoned mine for like, it's been a really long time. Like years and years. And I like when I was telling Amy, she's like, "Are we keeping this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't need that." Yeah, it's been a really long time. I think I will try going forward to be better and sort of do a little refresh every year because right, but it's like one of those things, like once it's working, then you just don't think about it and it, and it does its job. So yeah, I mean, I've updated things like when you have a new book coming out or something like that, but there are some things that probably haven't been touched in like 7 years. So I'll be touching those this year. But I told Amy, like, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't do not throw the whole thing at me. Like, I want you to tell me in stages, like, what's the worst thing, and then what's the thing after that, because otherwise I'll have a nervous breakdown. So. All right, everybody in the chat, I want to know how you guys did, what you are working on if you haven't already told us. And we have a lot of interesting conversations still going back and forth about changing POVs, about our big goal for 2021.
Also, CEO Savvy joined the chat, and I want to say CEO Savvy had a birthday yesterday, so I just feliz cumpleaños, happy birthday, CEO Savvy, even if it's one day late.
Happy belated birthday. Hold on, I'm going to go drag down here and find her. Hold on. Where is she? There she is. I just see her saying hi to everybody else. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
She always says hello daily.
There we have it. Hello, Daily Doll Schusterman Detective. Hello. We're so glad you made it today.
And happy birthday.
And happy birthday. That's exactly right. Happy birthday. Oh my gosh, that's so yay. I'm sorry we missed it. I was like not on the internet yesterday. I actually had like a migraine all day yesterday. I was in bed for like most of the day, which was sort of right?
I was editing. No, the thing with me is I was editing and my back was in pain. So I was taking several breaks and several naps and whatever. And then I was like, hey, hang on. It's December 15th. Someone has a birthday today and I am about to forget it before the day ends. I need to find out who. Hey, hang on. It's Yosabi. It's her. It's her birthday. So it was a weird day like that for me.
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook yesterday as soon as I logged in.
Aww. Well, happy birthday, CEO Savvy. I'm sorry I missed it, but I'm glad you're here today so we can say happy birthday in person. So, yay. All right, guys, let's see. So we were talking before. Hold on. Melanie says, a third of the 5th season is written in second person and it works very well. We were talking earlier about whether or not you could write a novel in second person. I know people have done it. So it's one of those things. If you're brave enough.
It can work if you have a good, like you said, Lisa, if you have a good reason for the tone of the story, and if you have a good reason to introduce it there, you can break the rules. Everybody says you shouldn't do it. Well, screw it. If it works for my story, I'll do it. That's all.
There you go. That's it. As long as you stay true to the story. Sorry, go ahead, Michelle. What were you going to say?
You by Charles Bennett. I don't know if you guys have ever read that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh yeah, the stalker guy.
Yeah. It's like a no, not that's the show.
That's the Carolyn.
I forgot about that. No, this is like
Carolyn
a really
Tuchman's
short, almost novella-like young adult book. Like you can read it in one sitting, and it's all in second person, and it is intense. You'll fly through it. I like second person was 100% the right choice for that story.
Really? All right, I'll have to check that out. That's cool. All right. Will you write in the private chat the name of the book and the author, and we said you, but the name of the author, and we'll post it in the chat. So Sky says, my favorite to read is first person, but I'm terrible at writing it, so I usually do third person limited. What? Interesting. I find first person easiest, but also like when I see a story, I see it like a movie playing out in my head. So right. So it, to me, as I'm sort of moving through that story, that's like how do I react? What do I see? So yeah, that's cool. All right. Melanie's doing well. We're very glad. Enjoying a snowy day with my gingerbread coffee from Dunkin'. Now I want hot chocolate. You guys ever right? They use like real steamed milk. It's super delish. All right. Heather's here. Hello, Heather. So glad you're here today. JC says it's snowing where she is also. Laurel's favorite is third person past tense, as long as it's done well. I don't really even notice it. That is the truth, right? You just want to get sucked into the story. Heather says I'm the same. So she also likes third person past tense. All right. Best-selling author in the making. Okay, first of all, I'm glad you're here. So it doesn't matter if you you made it after 8, you still made it, and we're super glad. Also, I love your handle. I think best-selling author in the making is fantastic. We are all here for it. So yay, you. We're super glad you're here today. Wendy's here. Hello, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
We're so glad you made it today. All right. So Melanie said she posted the Instagram revised half a page. Sky got 136 words. I don't know if this is the 5-minute or the 20.
The 20.
The 20. Joanne says, I want something like that. I don't. I'm missing the thing. She wants something like that. Could be the Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Could be the iPad. Could be anything. Perfect Energy Raspberry Black Tea blended with, what's MCT?
That's a type of oil.
Oh,
like
okay.
It's like kind of like I think it comes from coconut oil.
Okay.
Processed a little different, and it's like super good for you.
All right, fantastic. I'm all about the coconut oil. I want it all over me, and I want to drink it. It's delicious. Okay. All right, so butter and monk fruit. That sounds really delicious and also very healthy, so that's good. Spence got her document open, 33 words. Fantastic. Wrote these goals. Okay, these are Heather's goals for 2021. Goal for the week, get Christmas cards out by the end of the weekend. Goal for the month, get your goals written for January and 2021, and look at card making supplies during the sprint. So I had just decided, because I was kind of frustrated with myself as far as 2020 goals. So I thought, like, what are the things that I can actually get done that are not going to stress me out? So I've knocked a lot of kind of smaller things off my list. And then I just decided I'm not going to worry about writing for the month of December. I'm going to enjoy the month. And then I'm really going to focus on what is super, super important to me for 2021. So I told you guys I was going to come back to you and I was going to ask you, what is your biggest authory writing goal for 2021? I'm starting with you, Robert. What
my
is it?
first goal is just to get that short story out, which probably won't be so short by the time I finish it. And it'll be a mini novel. But if I get that out, that'll be a prelude to everything else. Then it's, again, getting the website up that I'm working on now, starting my second channel. So video production is going to resume early next year, and I need to plan it between 2 channels. So it's going to be a little bit less and not such a rigid schedule, but I think it'll be good because there will be some crossover between the channels, because the other channel, even though it has to do with a lot of Star Wars and lightsaber stuff, because the reviews from that took off and ended up in some business stuff, which I'll get into in a video down the line, but there will be a lot of story analytics of characters and story plots, but it'll be like the movies and characters from Star Wars, but it'll still pertain, and I'm going to put a playlist on my regular channel for that. So there will be information and crossover. It'll just be done in a slightly different format between a couple of channels, and I'm still working on how that's all going to
how that's going to look.
My only request for Robert's regular story detective channel is to please get the hype going about Stein on writing's craft book.
Yes.
That is awesome. Well, those are some really good goals. You seem like you've drilled down quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's still, I mean, they're lofty goals for sure. You have a lot. You've got some big plans this year.
And that's how this break is being handled. It's just putting all the pieces together from that, getting my head together from 2020. So that's no small task.
No, really. I think that's been the biggest challenge for me too, is to like figure out kind of like, okay, like, you know, that sort of Carrow wisdom that we always say, like, oh, if you're sick, could you still accomplish all this stuff? And what the thing in my head has been like, okay, if we have another year like 2020, how can I still actually get stuff done? Okay. Yeah. So Michelle, I don't want to think that that's going to happen, but just in case. All right, big 2021 goal.
Okay, so I haven't, all of the book deals that I've gotten since 2017 have been IP work, which is awesome, and I'm grateful for it. But my goal for 2021, I'm not going to say is to sell my own original novel because I don't have control over that, but to go on submission with something that is completely mine and not IP. That's my goal for 2021.
Explain to the folks who are listening who may not understand what IP is, what that is.
IP is intellectual property. It is when a publisher or a book packager comes up with an idea for a book and then they hire an author to write it. And so they might outline it, or I might outline it, or we might kind of co-outline it, but it's not like 100% mine. I'm very lucky in that right now the IP work I have is with Scholastic, and they're kind of unusual from other publishers in that they let the author hold the copyright. So I actually have the copyright to my 3 books with them, and I earn royalties on them, which is not something that sometimes IP work is just like a flat fee. It's not an advance of royalties. So that's awesome. And I'm not complaining about any of it. It's work and it's great, but like, it's time. It's been years. I want to get back to like writing my own stuff.
Also, Michelle, I've been out of the loop for a little while, so I wasn't watching a whole lot of YouTube, but I came back to your channel and I saw how much it bloomed in recent months. And it's
I know.
Yeah, that was really cool. I did that. I did a webinar on Reedsy, and then I did a plot summit, I spoke at a conference and they had like 3,000 attendees. And so those 2 things were like 2 big spikes. It was great.
That's fantastic. That's really awesome. Right, because you launched this year, right? You started right after coronavirus hit. You just launched. I know. We're so proud of you.
Thanks.
So happy for you, Michelle.
Thank you.
So so another description for IP is often, the publishers often also talk about this as work for hire. So sometimes those 2 terms are used interchangeably for anybody who's not been familiar with that. So DAL, tell us about your 2021.
Okay, my 2021 is going to be a lot more focused, hopefully. my biggest goal is to find the right representation for my sci-fi novel, whether it's a literary agent or a small press. I don't know that yet. I am going to improve my querying practices because I have been aiming at the wrong places. As I see now after reading some of the agents that I queried, I read some of their back catalog and I was like, whoa, well, I'm glad I was rejected. I mean, ugh, okay. So I was totally not aiming at the right place. So focus my querying strategies, which I still don't know what exactly how to do that, but I will try. Finish editing the draft until it's query ready, much better than before. Query, hopefully find something that likes my story. And not only that, but like coming back to my YouTube channel, find the right audience instead of just not having an audience targeted. I mean, okay, I'll be real with you. After what happened in 2020 with some people and some hot fire that happened, I'm quite a sensitive person, so I'm not here for that anymore, and I'm gonna focus my online presence around the people who want to be there for the craft, for the writing, for the stories, for for the focus thing, not just for the hot mess that happened, whatever that was. So I'm gonna be solely focused on writing and the topics that interest me, some sci-fi, some paranormal, some interesting
Oh,
not. I mean, I'm gonna just focus on themes and topics that interest me. Whoever wants to be a part of the journey will stay, and whoever doesn't want to be there, well, ta-ta, whatever. But so my whole goal, resumed in just a few words, is to stay focused, find your audience, find an agent or small press, and keep going with your sci-fi. Or should I call it paranormal sci-fi? I think that will be a better label. Maybe.
that could be one of the goals, to figure out whether you're writing sci-fi or paranormal sci-fi.
I think it has a strong paranormal element, but since I don't hear the term paranormal sci-fi thrown around a lot, then I don't know if that's a thing or not, and that's why I just stick with sci-fi.
Also, Dal, and for other people just starting out, like you said, looking at the back list of things that you were rejected from, and you're glad. When you're just starting out, it seems a little confusing and you're not getting there fast enough. But I think it's not so much of mistakes or rejection. It's just the timing, and not everything is meant to happen, and often for a good reason. In hindsight, don't you guys look back and say, wow, things kind of fell into place, and if they happened differently, this could have happened or that could have happened. And it's kind of interesting in the whole creative process. But yeah, there's usually something, and when it falls into place, you'll see that it's the right time and the right moment, and you'll be glad that you waited for that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Or that moment waited for you.
Yes.
Right? That sometimes I think what you had said is sometimes you really want something and you're pushing for it. And I mean, I have always operated with the mantra, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But sometimes you can't, like just force your way through. Yeah. Sometimes it's not the right project or the right agent or the right house or whatever. And maybe 6 months from now it is, or maybe you learn something that makes the story better. And then all those connections happen. So yeah, it is hard to be patient, especially when you're first starting out, but it is definitely worth it.
I am being patient, and I have learned to be even more patient now. It's like, hey, no one is rushing me. It will get published when it's absolutely ready to be published. That's how it's going to be. So I'm fine.
That is the truth. That is the truth. All right. So we are going to take a couple more comments, and then we are going to hop into our next sprint. Melanie says, Laura, I'm also looking to launch my newsletter next year. I have a website, but it needs revamping. Oh, the website. All right. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you being here. You're awesome. All right. Laurel says, thanks to Robert. Okay. So Laurel says I would be writing. Now we're talking about the website, or about the iPad.
The iPad.
I'd be writing on it and also doing art, but I'm a fairly beginner artist and completely beginner for digital art. So
Then the
I mean,
12.9 might be better because I did have like the little 9.7 or 10 inch.
Mhm.
It was just
10
too
inch.
small to do any kind of art, and that's why I upped to the 12.9 just because it gave you more real estate. But I
right.
definitely looked up during the last sprint to see what model, and this is a mid 2017 model. And Apple, I'm sure, is still going to be supporting that for the next few years. And you can find it, especially refurbished models, from a legitimate seller for around $500. So it's
Mhm.
inexpensive, and it does a lot.
Yeah, I saw that she's going to be drawing. So in that case, I agree with Robert. Then you would need a bigger iPad because it's going to give you more surface to make your art with.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you. That's really super great
I'm
advice.
seriously considering should I just apply for working at a retail?
I know, right? Doll, you always have lovely advice. Robert as well. We always count on him for his awesome opinions. All right, you guys. We are going to share our little screen here. Let's see. All right, it's almost time. Would somebody like to talk us out, or you want me to just say it? So just say it. Say it. All right, don't everybody volunteer at once. Okay, everybody. Warm up those little fingers. Get your water. And let's think about what we want to do for 2021 and what we can do right now, this minute, in this sprint to make it happen. All right, everybody, we're going to get started in 3, 2, All right, everybody. Here we go. Let's get rid of this timer. All right, yay. Okay.
I didn't even
How
realize
did
that
everybody
my
do that
connection
time?
got lost during the sprint. I was like, no, I need to come back. And I was like, oh, I was back from the sprint. No, we are not. But I calculated correctly. I was just a few minutes before we are back here. So yeah, I was very focused on my editing. It's getting better. I am now that I'm reworking this first chapter, I'm realizing like, oops, this phrase doesn't go there. Now that I'm working things better and like focusing more on the first character and not the others. So there are some phrases that I shouldn't have in there. Like it would be an inconsistency if I don't take that out. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I am very focused on my editing. It's getting better. I think Robert has seen the opening now. It's getting better. I don't know. It's working better for the reader experience. I think that's how I could put it.
Great. That's fantastic. That's what we always want. Very nice. Michelle, sorry, Robert, go ahead.
It's working better for craft, just getting all the necessary things in. It's reading smoother. Things that should be there that agents and editors are going to look for right up front is getting more in there.
More in there. That's a technical term for those of you. More in there. Right. Right. Yes. That's a very insidery term you've got there, Robert.
And that's my chance. And that's my chance to plug Solstein on writing books, Stein on writing, because thanks to that craft book, I am flying and getting things better. So if you haven't read that craft book yet, oh, what the heck are you doing? Forget the Save the Cat. Grab that baby and learn some.
It's a really good book, and it doesn't like give you, so many writing books kind of wash things down and give you very much the same information worded a little bit differently. But of course, Stein was a master, so he has a bit more in depth, and I think there's solutions for a great many things that writers have problems with that most craft books aren't covering. I've mentioned it a few times, but it's an older book, so it goes over people's heads, but then when you read it, it's like, wow, this is really different and helpful.
Yeah. Hey, Robert, will you do me a favor and write, do an Amazon link and write the title and the author's name? Sure. I am actually not familiar with that book, and I'll put put the link in the chat after after a while. I'm not sure when I'll do it. And then I'll stick it down in the description also. So I was like totally in the zone on that one. I didn't know DAL was gone until I heard the little blip that she had come back. I looked up and we had, like a minute left. So I'm super happy about that. I did say my goal for 2021. I have many. I have many, but they're all sort of interconnected. One of them, I will say, a small goal, not my official 2021 master goal, is to spend an hour a week doing something related to craft. And I have to say that Robert was the inspiration for that because he's all about the craft. But like every writer, I have a gazillion and I have read a ton, but I think this year, I have this hour a week when the Horror Geek is filming his videos where I have to be quiet, right? Everybody in the house is quiet. And so I thought I should spend that hour either watching a video or reading a book or doing some sort of, and it won't all be craft. Some of it will be marketing stuff, but I'm spending like an hour a week doing education. My big goal this year is to submit the book that I have been working on for 2020 and have not finished, to submit it by Valentine's Day and to finish it in 2021. And if I do nothing else in 2021, that book is getting done. So that is my big goal. I have some other small goals, but that's my number one. So, all right, let's hear. We've got some other, let's hear because it's so easy to hear people in the chat. Let's hear what some other folks in our chat are planning to do this year. Stacy said, lost track of time. Better luck next year. I know it's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. Melanie just realized that Christmas is next Friday.
It's messed up.
Oh, right. That's true.
What? Yeah, I just feel that. Oh my gosh. Hello, Barbara Howard. We're so glad you made it. She says she's just dropping back to drop a like. We appreciate it. BC Brown has been in the chat, but I'm just now getting there. Hello,
Hi,
BC. We're so glad that you are here. Lots of hi back and forth. Melanie revised 4 pages in the previous sprint. Sky got 451. 4 pages of revisions.
Fahrenheit, you mean?
451. 451 words. Spence got 118 and finished an article, 162 and started the next. Nice work. Joanne got 287. Oh, and StreamYard jumped. If you have your bingo cards out today, you just got your center square. Hold on. Oh my gosh, you guys, we have a ton of comments I haven't gotten to. Okay, Sky just finished rebranding entire website last month, hoping to get better about updating it when new releases come out and posting to the blog once a month. That is a very good goal. That is a reasonable goal. I always go, I'm going to post every week. I'm going to do this and this, and then I run out of juice. So,
no,
Mel,
exactly. No.
We have lots of happy birthdays to CO Savvy because we all love you. All right. Melanie is off to take a nap, but she finished revising chapter 2. So that is awesome. Thank you, Melanie. We're super glad you were here. Yay. CO Savvy says thanks. All right. So we have a couple of notes on second person point of view. Joanne says she's read some great fan fiction in second person. Sakatumi wants to write second person, choose your own story. That's pretty cool.
That sounds amazing.
It does. It does. And Sakatumi, I think you can totally pull that off. Stacy likes third person. BC Brown, girl after my own heart, likes first person, but she doesn't like to read it. Isn't that interesting? That's fascinating to me. Like that you like to write it, but you don't. Yeah, that's really cool. All right. Laurel, second person brings me back to choose your own adventure books. I know, right? Those are so cool. BC Brown and Sakatumi are on the same page. Ooh, Spence says Stolen is another YA book in second person that works really well. It's a letter from a girl. Oh, I think we talked about this one, right? Really messed her up. CO Savvy defaults to third person limited pass, but after Michelle's great video on POVs using camera angles, that was a good video. I want to try second position. You're next freaked me out.
I will. If you're feeling stuck in a scene, just try writing it in second person, and it'll like kind of shake something loose in your head. You know,
I think
that could be really helpful because if you're getting. I mean, third person is really like a God's point of view, and you're tempted to describe things. But when you switch to that other point of view, the camera lens is narrowed from what that person sees. So you really get a better view because that's what it is. The character's eyes are the camera. Right. And when you grasp that, it makes things so much easier.
Yep.
It really does. All right. Michelle, if you'll send me a link in the chat to your a link in the chat to that video.
Oh, yeah.
I will link to it in the chat, and of course, we will put it in the description below. That's a really great example. It's really some really good advice. All right, Stein on Writing by Saul Stein. I just put that in the chat for everybody, and I'll make sure that I add it. Stein on Writing. Hold on. Because I can't do 2 things at once.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay, in the description. Got it. All right. Tina's here. Hey, Tina. We're so glad you made it. Joanne says, yeah, I want it all. BC Brown, you're already writing a book with Sako. It's too late to watch for me. I hope it's going well for you guys. Ooh. Okay. Sky says, this is my only writing project for December. I'm hoping to finish it this week and edit a short story. Forget about that. Yes. Hey, Jean, very nice to see you. We're so glad you made it today. All right. BC says it's going really well. Her project with Sakatumi.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are on the same wavelength. This is not a shock. Both want to write second person. That's so awesome. All right, cool. Okay, you guys, that's awesome. All right, Joanne Ninja Hen, Video Plan 21. More videos about lit RPG and web fiction. I want to concentrate on those two topics. Yay, that's cool. Anybody else have a goal, a 2021 official goal to share before we go today? All right, Sakatumi loves Michelle. Who doesn't? Who doesn't heart Michelle? We all love Michelle. Awesome.
Amazing videos, amazing personality, lots of good information. Who doesn't love Michelle? I don't know, but they are wrong.
I don't get compliments now.
You're doing great. All right, Sakatumi says she also does IP also, and it's so gratifying not to write something or to write something not IP. Yeah, there is something about that. There is something about working on someone else's project, even though those work for hire projects, so they feel like yours. Like especially when you're outlining them, there and writing them, it feels like a normal kind of book, but also, normally in a normal writing contract, you have control over what's happening in the text of the book. And again, with the work for hire IP, you have more helpers.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
There are a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and that can sometimes have a thing. Yeah. Sky, I'm focusing on editing and publishing stories I already have covers for in 2021. Joanne Ninja Hen says, your vids are great. I love when you do little skits. That's Michelle. All right. BC said, I just did a Vlogmas video with my 2021 goals. In a nutshell, finish the book with Sakatumi, finish the third book in my paranormal mystery series. Fantastic. Sakatumi says this is a pretty sound set of goals. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Sky says, thanks for explaining IP because I always think IP address when someone talks about it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's different. Like, I think publishers who do it, well, most of the publishers do it, but I think that whether you call it IP or work for hire kind of depends on the publisher that you're with. Like, I did one a while back for Razorbill, which is a YA imprint of Penguin, and they called it, work for hire. But almost like a Scholastic, I think, regularly calls it IP, and a lot of other publishers do as well. So, yeah, anyway. Yes, generally speaking. What I technically do counts as fan fiction, but I can release through the publisher. That's interesting. All right, BC Brown, definitely going to redo the website. Sakatumi says 12.5 with the Apple Pencil for the win. Yes. Yeah,
she also has, I think that's the iPad that she has, and she has shown some digital art that she has done. Actually, my Facebook cover design, the personal page, the one where it's like my avatar but like drawn, that was Sako. So her art, and I put it as a cover. Yeah, the one where I look like an anime cartoon kind of. So with the Aurora colors in the back, that was Sako's drawing, and I just put it as a cover design for everybody to see, so I can plug her whenever I talk about it.
Yeah, she is. Sako can do it all. She's really quite the talent.
Yeah, and that pencil is quite the saving grace. I fought digital for so long because there wasn't a lot of line variation. In Photoshop, everything is sort of outlining and pressing a button, and they call it a brush, but there's no brush stroke involved, at least in the past. Things are changing now because everybody has a different kind of stylus and pencil, but the Apple Pencil, once you it takes a minute to figure out the settings, but once you get it right, I mean, you can ink with it, you can draw with it, you can do so many things.
It supports different hand pressure lines. And it also there's an app that it's called Procreate.
Yes.
That's very compatible with the Apple, the iPad Pro. Sako uses it, so I know that it works fantastic. Yeah, Procreate.
That's cool. That's cool. We are glad you made it today. All right. Heather says she's been doing admin stuff, getting art supplies ready to use this afternoon. Tamara, we're so glad you made it today.
Tamara.
In the middle of lion taming.
Tamara, good to see you.
I know. I'm so glad you're alive. All right. We are. You know what's crazy is every week I send a link to Tamara, like since she moved. And this week I did not for the first time. I just thought, oh, we're not going to see her till Christmas. So I'm so happy that you swung by. Thank you so much. We're so glad to see you. All right. Yay. And we're very glad you're stateside and hopefully adjusted to everything. I know, right? So everybody's like, Tamara, we love you.
Tamara. It's like, oh my God.
I know. We're so happy to see her. We're so happy to see her. All right. We made it almost all the way through the sprint without a ton of food talk, but Heather brought up burritos, and it's only a matter of time before we start talking about tacos. All right. So
It's Wednesday.
that's right. Well, that's really Carrow's deal, but I feel like it's sort of filtered over. Wherever Carrow goes, tacos go. Okay, Stacy's big goal for the month is to help people realize that things are not going to miracle change on January 1. We still have a lot of time left in this pandemic, and we need to be ready for what it gives. That is true.
Very true.
That is true. All right, ready for 2020 aside. A lot of personal bad things have happened this year. Oh, I'm so sorry. Our climate is not changing, so we need to find other ways to get things done. I could not agree more with it. This is like the perspective I have. I cannot have like the big, big goal list that I have had in every other year. I'm going to really focus on a few things that are super important to me, and the rest will, manage when 2022, is, or 2023, or whenever the world is some semblance of normal again. All right. So BC Brown says, great goal, Stacy. Stacy thinks there are too many people who think everything's going to change. And history is repeating. History always repeats itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think there is something, I agree. A lot of people think that things will magically change on the 1st. And of course, it'll be pretty much the same as it was on the 31st. However, I do believe in the power of delineation. And I think when we go, okay, it's been a terrible year and we're putting this behind us, and maybe most of these things are going to remain the same, but maybe how we frame them or approach them is going to be different. And so that is what I'm working with. If everything still stays the same, how can I be more productive? How can I have a better life? And how can I write books?
I think people have that little bit of fresh start when the year starts, because it just gives you that little bit of energy. When that energy comes in while it lasts, I think we can't change the world. We can only change ourselves. So think about how to change up your routine or start a new project if you can't get going on the old one. Doing the website has shifted me and got me back into things. And I think it was that shift that's responsible for getting more productive again.
Yeah, I think there is something kind of magical about really thinking about what is important, letting the stuff that's not important fall away. But there is some magic in a new project or a new whatever. So for everybody who's thinking like, oh, I really want to start a newsletter, or I really want to do a website, or I want to do go forward with those projects, because sometimes that gives you enough juice to, get going on the big stuff. So yes, on that. All right, Joanne Ninja Hen says she wrote under 300 words, whistled the Godfather theme song to test if my main character would be able to do it. That is hilarious. Jade says doll sounding chipper warms her heart. Laurel spent the sprint going through email and finally deleting stuff that should have been gone a year ago. Okay, raise your hand if you use your email as a filing system.
Sometimes I do.
I have like 27,000 emails or something, like some ungodly number. It's a lot. Okay, 84. But I can locate an email from 17 years ago in like 2 seconds. So just so you know that. All right, Spence got 84 words, super close to being done with the client work. That's awesome. Heather did some research, some editing in Facebook group, got some card bases scored. and distracted by burritos. Who isn't distracted by burritos? Look who showed up today. Nihilus Geek. We're so happy to see you. Everybody's happy to see Nihilus Geek. All right. It is 12. It is time to say goodbye, but I just want to say, okay, Heather also uses emails filing. BC, yes, yes. Stacy, Georgie, Joanne, so it's not just me. Thank you for the community. I appreciate it. All right, you guys. For
time to say goodbye.
Sorry. Well, thank you. I feel like we just went into a Disney movie there, but I love it. I'm here for it. All right.
I can't help myself today.
That's good, though. I'm very glad to hear it. You're very chipper today, doll, and we all love it.
I don't know what that is, but thank you.
Chipper means like perky, happy, woohoo.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
I just put the link in for you guys. I just put the link in to Michelle's camera POV video. I will put a link to that in the description below, but it is in the chat now. So grab it before we finish. All right, let's say our outros, and we'll start with Robert today.
Well, my channel is The Story Detective, and we analyze all things story-oriented, put it under a Sherlockian microscope, break it down into its simplest form, and give it straight to you guys so you can hopefully figure out your own craft problems. And I do tech reviews, and second channel starting soon.
Yay! Awesome. Michelle, tell us about you and your awesome channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm a middle grade and young adult author, and my YouTube channel is Writing Workshops and Traditional Publishing Chat.
Yay! And it's awesome. Doll, tell us about your channel.
Thank you for having me today, humans. I am DAL CECIL RUNO, a partially blind own voices author of sci-fi poetry and short stories in multiple genres, also known as the Ace from Space. My channel is currently on a sort of hiatus, but maybe I will film a video saying goodbye to this year, and I will be back full on 2021. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you so much to all of you for being here. I am Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published author of contemporary romance and nonfiction books. And if you want to write a book you're super proud of and get it published, this is an awesome place to start. So Devin has let us know that the Dawdling Writer will start streaming in just a few minutes. So if you want to do more spritz, you definitely want to head over there. I'm going to pop up a couple more comments before we go. Everybody, Jean says you're a perky chipmunk today, doll. And Cia Savvy says doll has some pep packed into her jetpack. I thought it was an oxygen tank. That is awesome. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. We love you. You rock, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.